Hello to anyone watching and welcome to the first recording of Rider Ramblings. It's gonna be just a small, maybe 10-15 minute podcast that I'll release with every significant update to the current Kamen Rider series, or even just something that piques my interest. Today's main topic will be Kamen Rider Ghost, episode 33. I watched it yesterday, subbed, and this is just going to be my thoughts and opinions. I want to put a warning right here for spoilers for Ghost, and also spoilers for parts of Drive, as I'm going to make a parallel to an event that happened in Drive, just to illustrate a point there. This episode, episode 33, focuses around, spoiler, Takeru's death again. This is the main point of the show, the main point of the episode, which I feel is good, but also it's the main downfall of the episode due to how they execute it. Takeru comes back to life right at the end of the episode, which I was kind of disappointed about. I kind of wanted them to draw out the death, maybe have 2 episodes, or he comes back right at the very end but doesn't do anything. But instead we got him coming back and killing the, I think it's the, I don't know if it's the Fire Ganmeister, or basically the Red Ganmeister. But in this episode, it's a good episode in my opinion. Just I kind of felt it was poorly executed towards the end. But other than that, it was a good episode. We get the reveal of 2 significant things in Ghost. We get our first glimpse at the Mugen Damashi. We don't really get to see the costume that well because it's obscured with all of the heavenly light around Takeru. But we do get to see him use it and some of the powers it holds, like when he slashes at the Ganmeister at the end. We also get the first appearance of the Gravity Ganmeister. This Ganmeister seems like it's in a whole different league to that of the Red Ganmeister due to its powers. I mean, it managed to do so many bad things to Takeru, and, well, really, it killed him. That's really all I've got to say for an overview of the episode. So what I'll do now is I'll just go through my points that I noted down while watching the episode in chronological order, so I'll mention them as they appeared in the show, kind of. So the first main thing we see happen is the Ganmeisters actually attack the temple, or very close to the temple where Takeru lives. And to me that was interesting because we've only really seen it happen once, it be attacked once before with Javert when he meets Onari. It was just interesting to see them attack straight at Takeru's home instead of skirting about and fighting him elsewhere. Apologies for the dog barking there. So the next main point of I enjoying the episode was Alain uses his Necron power, which draws from his life force. Now, this kind of inadvertently caused Takeru's death because Takeru had to save him using Houdini. I really think this is foreshadowing for Alain's possible death, purely because it shows him using this power and not realizing that it would kill him, but now he realizes it would kill him. I think there's a possibility that later on in the series he'll use it to save Makoto and inadvertently die. Kind of in a similar way to how, spoilers, Mashin Chaser sacrificed himself to save Go in Drive, and I really think that could be just kind of a foreshadowing for that event. We also get to see some more development on Arlane's part, with him kind of he looks to the ground, realizes that the Ganmisers are destroying the Earth inadvertently and don't care about it, and that's what sets him off on the attack against the Red Ganmiser. Um, so then we get the big thing. Takeru is well, first off, actually, the Gravity Ganmiser displays the ability to take the icons from Takeru. It seems like he only takes the heroic icons, though, since he still has his Ore icon. Um, that really, really presents a problem for him because it basically strips him of his Grateful Damashi and then forces him to use his standard form, which eventually ends in his death, which, to be honest, is the most effective use of any power in the show so far. I mean, strip your rider of his powers and what is he? Just a normal guy. Um, so after that, Gravity basically destroys the Ore icon, which causes Takeru to enter a kind of purgatory state. And I think the purgatory state in this episode is it's interesting because the way I perceive this state is basically as long as you can will yourself to live and you know you have people who like kind of remember you, you can come out of that state, and which is what happens later on in the episode. Um, so then we get everyone's reactions to the death. I think Onari's is the most he's the most hurt by this because he really ends up doubting just everything I think he believes in due to Takeru's death. So then we get a interesting scene where they're all talking to each other, and despite the elders kind of because we've seen him on the Ganma's side in the Ganma world, despite that kind of possibility of double agent activity, he really doesn't think there's a way for Takeru to come back, and he believes he's dead. Same with Yurisen, which is an interesting point later because that means the Mugen Damashi is a completely new icon that's he didn't design it because he created the previous icons or helped create the previous icons, whereas the Mugen icon is not. So that's another point. So it seems like icons can be created without the use of any like Ganma technology or Ganma magic. So after that, we get the food stand scene. We get another bit of just development for Arlane's character, showing that he's really taken a fondness to humans and kind of he respects Takeru now because he uh, he uses the quote Takeru lives on within me, which is in reference to his memories. Um, then skip a load of just exposition, and we get the shot of them walking. This is an awesome shot. All of them lined up, walking towards them, walking towards the Genmisers where they were previously, where they killed Takeru, and it's just a fantastic shot when they all line up. So they use Takeru's pieces of his icon as an icon with an eye, kind of to unify them, and it's interesting seeing what each of them says. Um, I didn't write those down, so you have to go through the episode to see those. Um, Akari's plan was pretty solid. I mean, there wasn't really any major fault with it aside from the Ganmiser obviously broke back through. But other than that, and Akari's plan was pretty good. I gotta say it was pretty good. Um, so we get the Flame Ganmiser come back, and it's a lot stronger. Um, but as stated before, every time they die, they become stronger. Um, so then we have Akari's flashback. I think Akari's flashback is one of the weakest scenes in the entire episode. To me, it held no weight whatsoever. Like even without a flashback, Onari's talking held weight for me, and I really felt like Inari had a massive connection to Takeru, and to me, that flashback was just an excuse for a flashback. It really didn't add anything, and it just basically allowed her to scream to unify them. Then we see them all get up, and there is the theme song's music comes back in as Takaru comes back into existence. Now, this whole scene is really cool. First, we get the icon pieces fly up, join back together, and Takaru appears behind it and grabs it while it's still floating. In my opinion, that was a great shot. Just the way they put it together and the way they got the icon floating and him grabbing it, just fantastic. Um, we also then get the Ganmiser. This was another cool touch. Um, it claims Takeru as a new target, signifying that Takeru has changed, something within him's changed, he's a completely different person now. Well, not a completely different person, but he's got a different outlook on how his powers work and how he can help people. Um, so after that, Takeru uses the Mugen Damashi and we don't get to see it really, we get to see the outline of it in gold, but it really seems powerful. But it seems like instead of just destroying the Ganmiser's body, he actually destroyed the two Ganmiser's tablets, which appears to eliminate the Ganmisers thoroughly. Pardon me. Uh, we also then, after that destruction, we get the icons returning to Takeru. Now, an interesting point here I found, I may be just reading too far into this. It seemed as though only the heroic icons were taken by gravity, but on the return, Takeru's father's icon, the Tokon icon, was returned to him as well. Could that mean that Tokon and his father has achieved kind of a pseudo-heroic icon status? It would make sense since his father is the one that gives him all his inspiration. So after that, we just get a little bit of them talking, Takeru expositioning the hell out of us, and then we get the closing, the next episode segment, and we get to see blurred images of Mugen again, but the interesting thing is, Mugen's going to produce some of its own sounds in the belt, I think, because we get to hear the belt shout Chokaigan Mugen, which is super eyes wide open, I believe, or super open your eyes, something like that. All I know is the Cho stands for super. So we get that. So I'm assuming that the icon just triggers new sounds in the DX belt driver along with the show. Um, that'd be interesting to see, but I reckon Mugen's going to cost us a pretty penny. Um, that's really all I've got on this episode for Rider Ramblings. Um, I'll just make a note of the DX driver hasn't arrived for me yet. Neither has the Necrom eyedropper, so still waiting on those for more reviews. I could make more icon videos in the meantime, but I've got no more DX icons currently. Um, but yeah, overall, I thought it was a solid episode. A bit weak in some places, like with how they executed Takeru's revival and Akari's flashback, because I really thought that, albeit short, I thought it was just a weak segment. But overall, there was some really interesting things. Like we got to see the Ganmiser, we got to see Mugen, well, see in air quotes. Um, but yeah, thanks for listening to the first volume of Rider Ramblings. This was episode 33 of Kamen Rider Ghost. Um, if there's any more topics for Rider Ramblings you'd like to see in the future, just leave a comment down below and I'll see what I can do about it. Thanks for listening.